Yeah, let's get straight into it. Okay, perfect. I'm a little bit sick today, so if I do come across a little bit tired, it's because I'm a little bit sick. But we move past it. So, how is everyone doing on this fine Tuesday evening? I don't know if anyone managed to see the Jerome Powell's latest speech. Who listened to and who read up on Powell's latest speech last week? Because it's very important. No one read it. No one read the the Fed Chair Powell speech. No one listened to Fed Chair Powell's speech on Thursday. No, that's not right, man. Guys, you got to be listening to these. You got to be up to date. If Fed Chair Powell is speaking and you want to be a professional trader, how do you not know what this guy's saying? Like, you need to do some homework and you need to go and and study exactly what he said in that meeting because it was very, very important. Like if you know how like so we understand, right, it's the central bank that controls the economy and the chairman of the central bank is speaking and no one read it. That's crazy. That's crazy, man. I don't know what you guys have been doing, man, but you got to read that shit straight up. So basically what he said, and he said a lot of shit. So half of me thinks I should let you lot do your homework and not even cover it and cover it on Thursday. But fuck it, let's go for it. So, what did he say? Right. So, let me kind of go through my notes. So, basically, Powell is pretty much changing his monetary policy. He's pretty much changing everything about what he's doing at the Federal Reserve. So, what they've been using recently, all right, obviously was more of a dual mandate policy, right, where they was talking about the labor market, right, and obviously they was talking about inflation. Now, Powell has pretty much come out and said, I really don't give a fuck about what's going to happen with inflation anymore. Sorry, with the labor market anymore. He shifted his focus entirely on inflation standard higher. What do you mean? He shifted his focus entirely to keeping inflation lower. Because obviously in 2020, when COVID happened, prices and inflation went absolutely through the roof. And it was a complete shock to them. It was a massive surprise. And that's why we saw global shutdowns. That's why we saw market crashes. That's why we saw, if we even look on the Dow, we look on the dollar, right? That's why we saw that massive crash, in obviously in COVID, right? So, and of course, then after COVID, what happened? Inflation then started to heat up. And that's why we also saw another massive correction for a whole year. So what Powell is basically saying at the moment is there's a lot of like curveballs that are going to be coming in the future. Things could be things around the weather, could be people getting sick, or things like, for example, Trump's tariffs that are coming in. So what the Fed is trying to do at the moment is really trying to make it so these surprises are not surprises anymore, right? He wants to keep the prices and inflation lower. That doesn't change, right? His inflation still wants to be the same. He still wants to have inflation at 2%. But he basically said, right, he also wants to get better at explaining what they're doing. And he also said that, we don't even have the answers. And that's literally what he said. And he's trying to figure out what's the best, obviously, path. So the best way to think of it is like baking a cake, where the Fed have been using the same sort of recipe for years and years and years. But now the oven is kind of changing a little bit, which is the economy, and the cake, which is, for example, like prices in the markets, isn't acting as it's supposed to. So he's starting to kind of change his recipe. Yeah, 100%. So basically, what he's saying now is that he's going to be keeping rates higher for longer because he doesn't want inflation to be coming up again. Right. Obviously, recently, if we even see here, right, we know that inflation has come down massively, massively, massively. Right. Obviously they did hike over 525 basis points for 16 months straight. And obviously the most recent data for PCE, was 2.2%, below 7.2%. So massive progress. And obviously, one thing he's mentioned is that the inflation did come, or the downtick of inflation didn't come with a massive uptick of unemployment. Because usually when you have higher rates, right, the labor market suffers massively. But the labor market didn't suffer, right? If anything, the labor market has been pretty strong throughout the entire time. So moving forward, he's going to be changing how he's moving his monetary policy. And if you haven't read up and listened to his speech, like you honestly, you're not serious about trading. Like every single person on this call, if you are serious about trading today, you need to go and you need to watch the FOMC speech and you need to go and listen to exactly what Powell said on that. But basically, moving forward, right, rates are going to be higher for longer, right? There will be a new dot plot coming out in, I think, June. I think it was June 17th. They're going to have another FOMC meeting, and we're going to see exactly what they're going to do with their whole dot plot. So, kind of moving forward with, move this over here, right? Kind of moving forward with the dollar, right? I'm still going to be following the same sort of kind of thesis, right? Where we have been seeing, all right, obviously inflation come lower last week, right? We saw inflation on the CPI front come out drastically lower, and we saw it. Oh, this is this week, right? We saw it obviously on the CPI front come out lower, and we obviously saw it on the PPI front and the PCE front. So all three of our metrics of inflation have come lower. So basically, what Powell wants to see now is if inflation is going to remain lower. They're going to be very sensitive, and I think markets are going to be very sensitive to inflation data in the coming months over anything labor related, unless labor goes really crazy, because labor has been pretty stable. And in terms of like rates being higher for longer, that doesn't really matter so much anymore because the labor market is strong and we've seen the progress of inflation. So because we are seeing the progress of inflation, that's why I'm going to continue to be looking at this bearish bias on the dollar. Right. So if we kind of catch up from where we was last week, right? Obviously, we said we wanted to kind of see, price break, kind of scale in, right? Obviously, price did break this minor little reaccumulation over here. So what I kind of want to see now is if we can get a pullback, right, on the dollar. Let me adjust this aircon. All right. I want to see if we can get a pullback on the dollar, right? Get a nice little distribution to then continue this thing going a lot lower. Now, if the markets want to kind of take a different approach because of Powell's comment on higher rates for longer, we could see the dollar appreciate a little bit higher, right? That is definitely a possibility. However, with inflation lower coming out lower, it makes more sense to keep kind of shorting off on the dollar, to be honest. So I'm just going to kind of be playing it like this. If we do come up into this supply zone over here, right, I'll be looking for the distribution to then try and walk this thing down. I'm not going to be in there. There's really nothing in there to try and trade. This is an accumulation. So wait for the market to accumulate up. And then once it comes to this like 101, maybe 101, 400 region, even 101, 600, if we can see any signs of distribution in here, we'll take it lower. You mean allowing inflation to exceed the 2% target? What do you mean? They haven't allowed inflation to exceed the target. That's not true because if you're saying they allowed inflation to exceed the target, all right, let's look at this. So let's go look at what inflation did. All right, inflation CPI specifically picked up to 9.1%. And then what did the Fed do? Let's see if we can show it on the chart. See, I'll show you. When inflation spiked up, what did they do? All right, they raised their rates. All right, they went on a massive rate hike cycle and raised prices. What was it, 500 and something basis points? Yeah, 525 basis points for 16 months. So they definitely didn't allow inflation, bro. Like if they allowed inflation to be higher, they wouldn't have raised rates. Doesn't make any sense. If they allowed inflation to be higher, why are they raising rates? The only reason they raise interest rates is to lower inflation and to bring prices back down because inflate higher rates isn't fundamentally good for the economy. It makes everything more expensive. It's hard to access credit. It can mess up the labor market. So they most definitely did not allow higher inflation. The entire theme over the last 5 years since COVID and since we started seeing inflation really pick up, right, was because of inflation going through the roof. That's the whole thesis of what we've been speaking about with the Federal Reserve. Like that's the whole point was they had a dual mandate policy where they wanted to keep inflation around 2%, and they've had a 2% target for the longest time, and they wanted to have the labor market stable. They've got the they've got the labor market stable, right? But now inflation is still not at their target. That's why they're keeping rates higher for longer until it gets to that 2% target. I mean, it's getting there. It's definitely getting there. Um, yeah, it's definitely getting there. So in terms of like where we are from a technical side of things, all right, I want to see if we can pull back up into this 50%. I mean, let's see if we've got any Asia in here. What's happened with Asia in here? Yeah, we've got this nice little manipulation over here. Price could react off as well. Got nice confluence with the New York. Little gap in there around the 50%. Yeah. So any basically signs of distribution in here or up here, I'm going to be pretty much trying to short the dollar going into this week. All right. So if we're looking at like the pound now, all right. I'm pretty much going to be playing the pound on the same sort of thing. Obviously, we know higher time frame. Pound is extremely bullish. We don't really need to. We know that where dollar is on a higher time frame, it's in massive supply. So we know pound and euros in a massive accumulation. All right. So we're just kind of walking this up based on the fundamentals and based on the technicals as well. So if we kind of go down, let's say on the 4 hour, of course, yes, we are in this leg. And of course, yes, we can come lower, which is the same sort of area as the dollar. But again, we're pretty much trading the dollar when we're trading the pound and the euro. Now, of course, I would much prefer the pound to give a little bit more strength. But again, we're not trading the pound, are we? We're trading the dollar. So if the pound and the dollar can, because again, this is what like aligns. This price action is the same on the dollar. It's just flipped upside down. Like if you literally flip this chart upside down, this is pretty much that redistribution on the dollar. So if the pound can come into here and show signs of accumulation, all right, I will be getting in buys in here. But of course, it all depends on really what the dollar is going to do. And if the dollar is not going to show signs of accumulation, then there's nothing I'm gonna do. We need to see that dollar come into there, into that same area, and show signs of distribution. Obviously, the dollar can come a little bit higher. So we could see pound even come a little bit lower too. It could even come down somewhere into here. It could sweep a lot. It could sweep that. But again, I'm going to be trading the dollar, so I don't really care too much what the pound does on a technical basis. It's more so what the DXY is going to do. So as long as the DXY can show signs of distribution up here or somewhere up here, I will definitely look to short it. In terms of the euro, it's pretty much the same thing. We are having divergence. So the dollar did actually break. The dollar did actually break this area already. So I'm not too concerned about this on the euro because again, we're not trading the euro, are we? We're trading the dollar. All right. It's the dollar that drives and the dollar that controls what the euro does. So I don't really care too much about the euro chart. It's more so the dollar chart. So yeah, it's pretty much the same sort of price action. If we can see euro come in here and show signs of accumulation, then I'll definitely be getting in buys down here on the euro, pretty much. But again, I'm pretty much going to be basing this entire analysis on what the dollar does. So don't be like too busy trying to stare at euro. Don't be too busy trying to stare at pound. Focus more on what the dollar's doing this week, all right? Especially when you're trading pound and euro. Has anyone got any questions about that? Are we pretty much good? Cool. All right. So in terms of the CAD, honestly, nothing really changes on the CAD. I'm still trying to hedge it. Yeah, still trying to play the hedge. So it's really the same thing as what we mentioned last week. Are we going to get the little redistro to bring it down, right? To demand, or is it just gonna, well, I mean, if we can redistribute it down, yeah, we'll definitely short it off. But I'm going to be monitoring this demand if we get accumulation, or of course, if we end up breaking this high and confirming the reaccumulation, then I'll look to get in more buys on this thing. Yeah, CAD's just kind of being hedged. It hasn't really done much. I mean, the last kind of 2 weeks, it's just kind of been going sideways. So this isn't really going to get a high priority at the moment. It's not really doing a lot. So I've just got an alert kind of set on this low. You're going to ping an alert on that high, and yeah, there's really nothing else to do with the CAD until one of those zones break, pretty much. So yeah, just set your alerts on the same prices and the same areas on CAD, and yeah. So an alert here if it creates a redistribution, and if it does, we can try and short it down. And of course, on the high, if it breaks the demand zone. And we'll get into indices and cryptos in a minute. I just want to quickly peep what's going on with here. Oh, did we get the Japan inflation? Did we get the new inflation data for, I think it's, did we get it yet? Or is it coming out? No, in 2 days. Okay, so we've got Japan inflation data coming out in 2 days. This is going to be very important. So obviously, with Japanese yen at the moment, what's been going on with the Japan interest rates and inflation? What can you guys tell me about that? Yeah, they definitely pause rates. So what does that mean? Well, okay, let me ask you, why did they pause rates? Yeah, well, inflation was going up, so they hiked rates. DXY going higher? We're not talking about DXY. We're talking about JPY. So TAFIX. No, you got it right. What Tom said, inflation. So what's been going on with inflation? What's been going on with inflation? We saw inflation come out higher, right? So yeah, they obviously raised rates. But what happened with the BOJ's rate cycle? No one knows. No one pays attention to the calls we do every week. So what happened when they started raising rates? Why was this historic? Come on, let's discuss it. This is how you guys learn, right? Putting your information out there, asking, not just asking questions, but talking and discussing and putting your information out there. Like you want to get active with your learning. Like if you're really serious about this, guys, get active with your learning, get involved, share ideas. That's how you're going to get better. If you're just sitting there with your cock in your hand thinking, oh my God, I'm just going to hear everything, you're not going to progress as fast as someone who's always asking questions, always trying to give information, always trying to actually get involved. Yeah, it did. It definitely crashed the market 100%. So, yeah, that you're right. For the first time in 14 years, they started raising rates 100%. And it absolutely crashed the fuck out of the stock market. And we saw one of the dirtiest drops in the longest time. We saw what? A 30% liquidation in less than a month, right? Absolutely disgusting. And then what happened? They paused rates. We saw the retracement back into supply. And then what did we do? Rates got hiked again, and it just absolutely fucking shit itself. So 100%. So that this is why they're very cautious, especially with Japan, because the first time, well, this rate hiking cycle is the first rate hiking cycle in the last 14. Yes, bro. They're shitting themselves because, bro, a 30% crash is insane. Do you know, like that's crazy, bro. A 30% crash is diabolical. That's absolutely insane. It might not sound a lot because you're used to 30% gains and cryptos with 100x's and 1 to 100s and all this shit. But a 30% crash, like, bro, that's like, imagine, for example, your house, right? If your house is worth, let's say your house is worth $1 million, right? It's just lost $300,000 worth of value. Yeah, bro, so much money got wiped out. Can you imagine people's pensions? People's like, bro, so many people got so shook during that crash. 100%. So many people lost so much money. Obviously, then it recovered because they paused the rates. And then what did they do? They cut again. They paused. So now what are they going to do? Well, this is where now we have to look at the data. They look at themselves. And what do they look at? Inflation too. So because we've been seeing a couple down ticks of inflation, right? This is why they've paused the rates recently. So for what I'm going to do with the JPY moving forward is nothing until the May 22nd, pretty much. So in 2 days, we're going to get the new inflation data. And if we see inflation come out higher, what's that going to mean? If we see their inflation data come out higher on the 22nd, what's that going to mean? Higher rates, definitely. So then what's that going to mean? Yes, 100%, right? A higher JPY and what for the stocks? 100%. There you go. All right. A massive crash on the stock market. So everything for Japanese yen right now, yeah, you guys are right. 100%. Everything right now is going to be resting on the May 22nd. So for me, I don't really want to be trying to fight what's going on with JPY or what's going on with the Nikkei at the moment because it's literally in like it's being hedged in right now. Like if we look at the chart, we're sitting in demand and we're also sitting in supply, right? If you look at what we're doing with the JPY, we're literally in the middle of nowhere. So for me, there's nothing I want to do with it because I need that fundamental narrative. This is why you're seeing this on the chart because the investors themselves are literally thinking, what the fuck are the central bank going to do? They don't know. That's why they're buying. That's why it's called a hedge fund because they're hedging themselves in. They're buying and they're selling. So we need to see what's going to happen with inflation because if we can see inflation come out higher, well, then yeah, we'll probably go more in the rate hiking cycle and this thing will keep going higher. And then there's no reason for sellers to come in. And then we'll start looking to walk this thing back up and play the reaccumulations. At that point, then yeah, I'm not going to care about any of this supply because I have no fundamental reason for sellers to come in the market on Japanese yen. And this thing could be setting up for a big reaccumulation at that point. But we need to see what's going to happen with inflation. So if we can see that inflation data come out, if inflation comes out lower, then there's no reason for rate hikes, and then I'll look to short this. So with Japanese yen, it's really just a case of see what inflation data is going to do. All eyes on the next inflation data for Japanese yen. And let me send it in the chat. So if we see CPI come out higher, we will resume our bullish bias on JPY and bearish on the Nikkei, right? But if we see CPI come out lower, right, we will look for JPY shorts and Japan 225 buys. If we see JP, no, bro, you're looking at Japanese yen. What's the Japanese yen got to do with the dollar? No, we're not trading the dollar, are we? We're trading Japanese yen, bro. We're looking at a whole different economy here. Just because something's got US dollar in it doesn't mean that it's going to influence the dollar, bro. Yeah, it's driven by the Japanese yen. So when you've got a currency pair, right? It's like, for example, people see, oh, BTC USD or XAU USD. And they're like, oh my God, it's driven by the dollar. Why the fuck does the dollar have anything to do with gold or Bitcoin? It doesn't. You know, just because something has the dollar in it doesn't mean it's influenced by the dollar, bro. You know? Like you probably have a male best friend who's got maybe a feminine name. Doesn't mean he's a woman. You know what I mean? Right? So like, I know a guy called Alex. I know a woman called Alex. Doesn't mean he's a she and she's a he, you know? But the point is, you have to know what's driving the instrument. You know, if we're trading Japanese yen, well, the key's in the word, right? It's Japan. We're looking at the Bank of Japan. We're looking at their economy. We're looking at what they're doing with their monetary policy. Yeah. Obviously, pound and euro is slightly different because they're driven by the dollar. All right. But something like, USD JPY is not driven by the dollar. It's the Japanese yen. Something like the USD CAD is not driven by the dollar. It's driven by the CAD. So you got to pay attention to what's going on with the BOJ. Yeah, you got to pay attention to what's going on with it. Yeah, there you go, with the Bank of Canada. So yeah, yeah. So basically, there's really not much I'm gonna do with this until we get this data comes out on the 22nd. I'm not gonna try like for me. What's the point in trying to wiggle in a short here and then CPI comes out and it does that? Or the opposite. So this is something where you just got to sit out, wait for the data, and then you can make highly educated decisions. So if, like I said, if we get that inflation data coming out higher, we're going to keep buying this. All right. So if at that point, if it comes out higher, like again, I don't really care about any of this at this point. So I'll literally be playing reaccumulations in this if we get the inflation coming out. So what I would say is mark up your charts the same, and you should be doing this anyway. Like all the charts I have, make sure your charts look the same. And let's just wait for inflation with this. In terms of other sort of markets, like so we said we're gonna sit out on CAD, sit out on JPY. Same, we're gonna set out with a Nikkei. Again, it's not really doing a whole lot. Silver, yeah, silver's not doing anything either. It's just been consolidating for the last, month and a bit. Gold, oh, hello. Gold finally came slightly lower into our demand zone. What did it do? Where did it come into? Did it come into the reload? It did. Okay, so at this point, there's still nothing. We're still. So maybe it's in the start of accumulation. Hypodermic. No, 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 no. So maybe something like, I mean, it could be. Well, it could be. We would. I'll let you know what we can play on that. Um, but SCAR, probably ST. Maybe we get something like that. That would be quite nice on the gold. So there's a couple scenarios on this. So maybe we can do something like this on gold, and we'll definitely buy these back up to all-time highs. Now, we could get that hypodermic bottom that the young Albert loves. So if we do see this like V-shaped sort of recovery, all right, that's only because there's just so much demand left and they don't need to fill orders. So if that occurs, all right, so first I'm going to ping an alert on these lows. Now, if that occurs, what am I going to need to see? So if that occurs, I'm going to need to see a reaccumulation. So I'm going to need to see some sort of break, some sort of distribution, some sort of shakeout to the downside, followed by a break and another micro in there if we're going to play a reaccumulation on gold. I am aware that there is this little redistribution here, but obviously that was formed to bring us down to demand. There is a possibility we could be playing a larger schematic. This could be the spring. I would like to see something a little bit more organized down here. And the fundamentals make sense for this thing to keep going higher. And this high up here is a target. So 3,500 should be achieved on gold unless we start breaking, this 2960 level. Of course, if we break that, then yeah, we're gonna yeah, shit. If we break that, holy, yeah, if we break that, we're coming lower, significantly lower. But I don't really see there's much reason for it to come lower at this point. So yeah, with gold today, there's not much I'm gonna do. I will ping an alert on this high at like 3,270. But yeah, unless it breaks that, will I ping my alert? There we go. Right, yeah. Wait, what? Why is your alert not setting? There you go. AUD NZD. Yeah, I'm probably not gonna touch these for the time being. UK 100. Oh, she finally reaccumulated. Oh, hello. Okay, UK 100. Whoa, 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 whoa. What did we miss on this? Hold on. Hold on. So we reaccumulated on this. What did we do? What did we do? So we reaccumulated. We came into here. Oh, what? That's on a Monday. Did it even give an entry? Let's see. Mm, yeah, there's nothing I would have played in there. I mean, you can see it tried to give like a type four, but realistically, yeah, I'm not getting on that. I mean, it mitigates, but there's yeah, the supply here. It's in premium. Yeah, there's nothing I would have realistically played on that. So yeah, let's just keep walking UK 100 up. It looks pretty good. Um, so yeah, let's see. I mean, we're starting to slow down up here, starting to diverge. We are starting like, look at the impulses. We're seeing big impulses, and now the impulses are slowing down. So we're seeing a shortening of the thrust, which basically means the trend's getting exhausted. And we know that because of where we are, right? We're in premium and we know sellers live in premium. So we don't want to be buying up here. So let's see if we can get this to distribute, fake move on the Monday, Tuesday, maybe Wednesday, Thursday, get another swing up. So I quite like that on UK 100 actually. We've got a nice reaccumulation over here too. We've got even liquidity reasons for it to come lower, nice imbalance. So let's see. Yeah, we've got a nice distro, shakeout, little accumulation. So yeah, let's see if we can buy this up on UK 100. Bet. All right. And obviously if that fails, I'll still look in here. It could be a liquidity sweep. And there's a lot more effort in there too. Obviously, if they all fail, then well, I mean, at this point, looks like we're going to all-time highs, and we tapped into that 50 all the way down here. So yeah, we're realistically probably going to be going to all-time highs up here. So let's see if we can get this little sell-off and then buy it up later in the week. Swissy, what's going on with the Swiss? Yeah, there's not. Yeah, I'm not touching the Swiss. Nothing to touch on there. Cool. Let's look at cryptos and indices then. Unless anyone's got any other currencies or markets they're looking up. All right, what's Bitcoin doing? Bitcoin. We're wiggling up to all-time highs. So, hmm, hmm, what are we doing? So, came into this. So, ETH never respected. ETH never respected. ETH turned out to be a larger distro. Now, the question is, okay, so ETH's doing this. Total's in a big distro. Bitcoin, yeah, I think Bitcoin's in a bigger distro as well, to be honest with you, man. I mean, originally, like I was seeing it like you can even see like distro shakeout sign of strength. It did come back down. It did give a little reaction. Let's see. I mean, I'm still going to be dollar cost averaging into cryptos regardless. What are we doing? Why are we failing to break that high? That's the question. Because total's distributing. So maybe, okay, let's see. Let's zoom out a little bit. Get some more clarity on this. Okay. So, I mean, I don't see a point in this thing. It doesn't make sense to get a big leg down again. I don't. It's a possibility, but I don't have a reason to. We had the distro, we had one drive, two drive, three drive, spring. We had a beautiful accumulation in here. Okay. This is the total market cap. So this is showing like all of the value of all the money in the crypto space. And this is, yeah, this is a good chart to look at. So this is definitely in a range. Okay. So if in terms of Wyckoff, then what have we done? So we had our seller's climax, our automatic reaction, secondary test in B, spring, sign of strength. So maybe we get a shakeout, make everyone scared again before doing that. What news do we have this week? What news do we have this week? AUD. What is AUD? Oh, they cut rates. Um, anything interesting? Uh, uh, uh. Oh, CAD inflation came out higher. Nothing too crazy this week, actually. Um, Powell speaking again on Monday. ECB speech on Monday. OPEC on Wednesday. FOMC meeting again on Thursday. And PCE again on Friday. Okay, next week will be a big week. So maybe, okay, so maybe this is going to be the catalyst in the FOMC to send the markets back up. So maybe we see a small sell-off before, shake everyone out, get everyone shook again before getting that pump. Yeah, that's what kind of makes the most sense on this. I mean, it's definitely possible to come all the way back down here. I mean, I'm not. It's not worth trying to short these markets because at any point it could just, do what it did here and just reaccumulate without a manipulation. But I need a repeatable model. So let's see if we do something like that on total, or if we come down here and accumulate. I think that would be the ultimate shakeout, and then that could bring us into next week too, with the whole FOMC and PCE data. Yeah. Anyone see it differently? Yeah, that's interesting. It was looking like Bitcoin was ready to go, but based on total market cap, and I think ETH, this is now a larger distribution. I mean, if you just even look at the organization side of it, we are seeing a lot more effort from the sellers. Well, volume to get a bit of absorption. Yeah, maybe we get another shakeout on Bitcoin in cryptos. I mean, it could do this again. It's definitely a possibility. it could just come down here and do that and take off. Liquidity doesn't have to get taken. Remember that. But in terms of me taking the position on it, yeah, there's not too much I think I'm going to do on Bitcoin unless we get this total that gives a larger shakeout. Um, what? Hold on, let me edit this. Yeah. So let's see. Let's see what we get. I will look in there as well because we do have cause and effect. But let's see. Cool. So let's bring us on to the Dow. So Dow is absolutely screaming those buys we took back on the start of the month and then back in the middle of the month. Kind of sit like a little 1 to 75 and just shy of a 1 to 100. Well, on this broker, it's 1 to 95, but the one I took is actually a 1 to 100. I think we went through the breakdown on this last week. So with this now, yeah, I want to see the pullback. It's definitely in a distribution. So I want to see if we can pull back into here and get an accumulation basically. Now, if not, if that fails, then I'll play into this little demand down here. So I'll be looking for an accumulation in here. And I'll be looking for an accumulation in here if it wants to do some fuckeries and do a larger shakeout. I think this is definitely an active distribution. Start of the week, we get a little fake move or fake move on the Monday, take all those Monday traders out, and then maybe do something like that in the week. So let's see if we can work our way in the accumulation. Yeah, I'm not doing anything today on indices. Well, I haven't even seen the others, but on US30, I'm not. Yeah. And we've got some disgusting profits from last week on it. So like and that's like that's where the psychology comes in as well. Like once you've had profits, normally that's when everyone's losses start occurring. Like if you look at your journal, you're not profitable not because you can't find winners. There's so many winners. Well, there's enough winners to be profitable. I mean, you don't need to trade every day. But the reason why people are not profitable is they just take way too many losing trades. And they take too many losing trades because they take, well, there's a lot of reasons for everyone. But one reason is they get a winner and they get too cocky and they overtrade it. They'll make a few percent and then all of a sudden they'll take 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 back-to-back losses and give it all back. Like, for example, on Friday, like, I don't know why anyone was trying to trade on Friday. We had an absolute banger on the Thursday that literally shot up in one trading session was a 1 to 40 by changeover, So I mean, there was no reason to try and do anything on the Friday. And even this early in the week, we've got absolutely bangers. Now, if you're sitting there and you're like, oh, I didn't catch the trade, doesn't matter. Treat it as if you did catch the trade, right? So even if you miss a trade, add it to your back tested journal, back test it, and in your mind say, cool, I missed it this week, but treat it as if you actually caught it. Because you could, like, even if you're missing it now, figure out why you missed it. Why did you not take the trade? Was you not on the charts? Why was you not on the charts on the Thursday when you know that Thursdays always give high probable trades? You know, start to look at why you're missing those trades. Look at three pairs of I was trying to look at three pairs at the same time instead of trying to set alerts. Yeah, there you go. You always got to use alerts, bro, and you got to prioritize your watch list. You know, yeah, 100%. You got to prioritize, bro, and you got to use alerts. Like, don't just stare at the markets and hope you're gonna take a trade. Like, always set alerts and create those if then scenarios. That's the whole premise of how we trade. All right, it's got that alert in here. Got an alert in here. Yeah, that's it, bro. You got to get organized. Like you got to create your watch list. Like different priority watch lists. High priority, medium priority, and low priority. You got to take it seriously. You really got to treat trading very, very, very seriously. I think some people just don't treat it seriously enough, and the reason why is because they're not invested in it. They got no investments. Like I don't mean physical money, but like there's zero barrier to entry. It's like, for example, back in the day, if you wanted to come into trading, bro, you needed to have licenses, you needed to spend six plus figures on actual like licenses. All there's so much shit behind it, right? You couldn't just come in and open a broker and use TradingView. There was so much more barriers to entry. So you had to be very serious. You had to be a professional to come involved. But the problem is because it's an app on your phone, something on your computer, what do you associate your phone with? Pleasure, because you're on social media. You might be on TikTok. You might be scrolling. So you're not taking it as seriously. And when you don't take it seriously, you're not going to get serious results. In your head, you might take it seriously, but in reality, are you actually running it like a business? Are you actually telling yourself, I have hours of operation? Because your job, you're in, if your boss tells you to start at 9 o'clock, you start at 9 o'clock. But for yourself, you can't give yourself a schedule when to journal, when to backtest, when to research fundamentals. If you treat it like a hobby, it's going to cost you like a hobby. Really run it like a business. Treat it like a job, matter of fact, right? It's not even, oh, I want to, like, imagine if, for example, if your boss said, all right, I need you to create this case study. I need you to mark up this, create these watch lists, this high priority, medium priority, low priority. I need you to journal these trades. Otherwise, you're going to lose your job. You're going to do it. But for yourself and your own goals and your own future, you won't. This is the thing, right? And there's no one coming to save you. Like if you only like as much as we can try to help you and try to tell you what to do, at the end of the day, it all falls on you. And that's the problem because our entire lives we're conditioned with having someone else to tell us what to do, when you can go to the bathroom, when you can eat your lunch, what to do at your job. Everyone's got different jobs here, but for example, when I worked in Sainsbury's, I'm like doing this today. I'm stocking shelves, or I'm doing this, or I'm seeing. You know what I mean? We're all told what to do. But in trading, you got to take that. You got to structure your life and treat it like a job. Like the best thing I can tell you all to do is get a pen and paper. You guys seen my trading journal a million times. It's wait. Let me show you. Wait. Let me show you. Let me show you my journal. All right, like listen, yeah, and I'm not embarrassed to show you guys this. Look how I don't know if you can see it because I got a green screen, but like, can you guys see how fucked up my journal is? That's the spine, bro. That's not even the opening bit. It's so fucked up because I use it so much. That's how much I use it. I take this shit everywhere with me. I use it that much. That's not yeah. This is where you open it, bro. Right? I use it like my pages are absolutely full to the brim on this front pages, back pages because I treat it like a business. The book opens both sides. Even my days, right? I structure my days like a business. Now, okay, look, I'm human. Let's be real. Maybe a couple days I might forget to do it. Let's be real. Shit happens, of course. But 9 times out of 10, I'm really running it like a business. I have hours of operation. I have days of operation. I know what I'm doing when I'm doing it. And that's how you got to start treating it. You can't just come in and check the chart when you feel like it. You can't just study when you feel like it. Do you turn up to work when you feel like it? Do you pay your bills when you feel like it? No. Do you feed your children when you feel like it? Do you look after your wife or husband when you no, right? You have to have that self accountability and you got to create higher standards for yourself. The problem is you don't have standards for yourself. You haven't set standards. And if you don't stand for something, you will fall for anything. So build those habits. Start off small. Start off planning out your days down to the minute, right? Fuck a to-do list. Have a schedule, right? In terms of if you're at, for example, at your job, you are literally going to have a schedule. Okay, I start work at 9 a.m. Okay, from 9 till 10, I'm doing this and I got a tea break. Okay, from this till this and I got my lunch break. Treat it the exact same way here. Right, like, then this is the thing, right? Your 9 to 5 will pay the bills, but it's that 5 to 9 that's going to build your future and build you a fortune. When I was working my job, right, I treated my trading business like a job too. So, for example, even in a work day, I would have specific times throughout my work day when I would be on the charts, when I would be studying, when I would be back testing, when I would be marking up, right? Use your breaks, use your days off, and really put in that time. And like, truth be told, like some of you just don't put in enough work. And like the thing is, some of you, and I'm saying that because I was that guy, right? I literally was that guy, and the thing is, like, I thought I was putting in work, and I deluded myself. But then I would see someone, who, for example, would be, let's say, for example, I would be learning for 6 months, and I would see someone come in like in the community I was in, and in a month they'd come and get better results. I'm thinking, how the fuck they do that in a month, bro? And I've been here 6 months because it's not how much time you spend, it's the quality of the time you spend. Because here's the thing, I'm talking about, like was mentioned earlier, active learning versus passive learning. Some of y'all on this call with your clock in your hand, like, oh, you know what I mean, leaning back, bro. Mate, if you're like that and you're passive of your future, you're going to get passive results. You've got to really take it more seriously, and you've got to get more involved and take everything more seriously. Is the biggest thing I can tell you. So structure it down to the minutes. Plan out your days. Know what you're going to do, when you're going to do it. Know how long you're going to do it for. And then when it now comes to, for example, okay, do I need to be on the charts today to trade versus study? There's two different things. You need to be studying every day. Do you think Floyd Mayweather misses a day? Do you think any athlete, Michael Jordan, obviously he's retired now, but in his prime, on his come up, do you think Michael Jordan was missing days of training because he didn't feel like it? I think he was doing the bare minimum. You got to have that Mamba mentality, bro. Like you got to like the amount of work you think it requires, it literally requires 10 times more than that. That's it. Like I remember I having a conversation with one of my mentors early on, and I'm like, bro, just I'm just not getting it, bro. Like, I don't know, man. I'm really stuck. It's been a few months, bro. I don't know what's going on, man. Like, I'm just not getting it. He's like, I bet. How many charts have you looked at in the last week? Maybe four, five. He just laughed at me. He said, I'll do that in fucking 30 minutes. And that's what made me realize, shit, what I just did in a week, this guy's doing in a few minutes or hours. So it's about compressing those time frames. You got to fit in, right, way more than what you think. And that's all success is. It's high volume. Volume always negates luck. Even there was a story. I don't know if you guys know the entrepreneur Alex Hormozy or Hormozy, whatever. He's really good for like business and mindset and stuff. But anyway, like he told this story where he was like handing out flyers, and I think this will just help you guys open to realize how much time you really got to spend into anything to be good at it. And he was handing out flyers, right, for his business, and I think he handed out like 300 flyers. Right. And then he went to the like his guru teacher guy and was like, yeah, bro, I got one callback. This ain't working. And the guy said, well, how many did you send out? He was like, I sent out 300. He just literally laughed at him and said, bro, you did 300? We test with 300,000. We test with 300,000. And my man's there doing 300 thinking he's cool. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like, it requires a lot more than what you really think it is. Now, don't let that. Now, here's the thing: there's two people when they hear that. One person's going to shy away from that, and if that's you, then look, success isn't meant for you. You're meant to be average, and you're meant to work that job for the rest of your life, and that's okay because some people got to put the fries in the back. Some people do, but the other type of person will want to rise to that challenge. Now, I know it might sound intimidating, it might sound scary, but you can build that courage to put in the work. And what you do is you build up over time. Like, I don't expect you to go from zero to fucking 20 million hours a day. Of course not, right? Start off building it. So, for example, let's say you're going to research fundamentals or study psychology or whatever it is, one of the core four skills. Start off with just 5 minutes and then plan to do 10 minutes the next day, then 20 minutes, then 25, then 30, then 40, and build on and on and on and on and on. And it all just comes down to what are you going to trade off? Because when I was, just always hanging around my friends and always just being a lazy bum and all this shit and watching Netflix all the time, all this, and it's okay to do that, but it's what are you trading off? Because I had to trade off those Netflix shows with my goals and working on my future. I had to trade off chilling on the block with my friends to working on my goals and isolating myself to actually build my future. So it's all a trade-off. If you want to go and chill and do all that, good, do it, right? But remember, you're trading that Netflix series for your future. It's all a trade-off. So what sometimes you gotta sacrifice. Sometimes you gotta miss parties. Sometimes you gotta miss going to the club. Sometimes you gotta stay home and grind, you know? And if there's people in your life that make you feel bad for that, they're not supposed to be in your life. You know what I'm saying? Now we're gonna get back into the charts, but I just wanted to kind of express that because it does, you know, like there is a lot that really comes into this thing, and I don't want you guys to kid yourself. Like, and don't just think, oh, this is because this is the only strategy, and then oh, you're gonna go learn another strategy and it's gonna be easier. No fucking way, bro. Anything in life that's worthwhile, the reason why the result is so good is because it's so hard to acquire it. Why do you think less than 5% of traders worldwide actually succeed? Because that 5% are willing to do what the 95% are not. You know? See how much shit I like. I'm just being real with you guys. Like, do you know how many fucking birthdays I missed? How many relationships I sacrificed? How many friends I lost? But if, it's the thing, they weren't even friends because those who mind don't matter, and those who matter don't mind. Those people that I didn't talk to and got offended that I wasn't talking to them or going out. That's not a friend. That's an opportunist. That's a combo for another day. You know, a real friend will support your season of grind. A real friend will want to support your goals. And let's say you don't speak to him in 6 months and you go link up with him again, it'll be like nothing ever happened because that's a real person in your life. Now, I'm just saying sometimes you got to really treat this seriously and like a business. And I think like I'm just talking from my experience, man, because I remember really early in my journey, like I didn't take it seriously. Like I thought I was, that I was living as a legend in my own mind. Like in my mind, I'm grinding, yeah, I'm putting in the work, but it wasn't deep focus work. You know, there's a difference between, for example, like even on this call now, there's a difference between attending the call and actively getting involved with the call. There's two types of people. You've got the guy who, for example, sits back, relaxing, maybe on TikTok, maybe scrolling, maybe smoking a fucking joint or some shit, right? And then you got the other guy who's actively in the chat box, who's sending charts, asking questions, who's, okay, Kieran's looking at this chart, boom, minimizing the zoom, or if they've got another screen, open up the same currency pair. I bet he's marking up this zone. They're asking themselves questions in their head. Wait, why is he even doing that? How did he know to do this one rather than this? They're making it become alive, and that's how you want to do it. Like even when I'm studying, I'm reading, I'm getting active. If I'm reading a book, I'm highlighting it. I'm talking to myself. I'm pausing. Shit, let me go open ChatGPT and have a quick discussion with ChatGPT about this chapter. I'm getting involved with it, you know, because learning's not just passive. It's not just sitting there and listening. It's about getting involved, getting active, engaging with the information, and getting involved with it. You know. So yeah, anyway, that was my TED talk. Thank you for attending. Right. So yeah, we've got US30. Yeah, I don't really see much if I'm probably going to be trying to. I appreciate it. I don't really see. I mean, could it reaccumulate today? It could, but yeah, it's really early, man. I don't want to try and just take unnecessary risks and unnecessary loss. Let's see what the Nas Dizzle's doing. Okay, what are we doing with Nas? Obviously, it has to be. Yeah, bro, 100%, man. Like 100%. And it like the thing is habits. You know, it's all just comes down to habit creations. You know, and like there's so many times, bro, where you're gonna have periods of motivation. You're gonna have periods of no motivation and demotivation. But it's like even today, bro, like I'll be real with you, bro. Like, do you know how fucking shit I feel today right now? Like, I woke up and I felt like I got hit by a fucking train, bro. Like, I'm sick, bro. If you saw what was coming out of my nose, fuck. But it's not about so obviously sometimes you got to rest, you know, there's difference, but I knew I had shit to do today. I knew I had to get certain things done today. you know? So sometimes you gotta just have those DMOs and those bare minimums. And even though you may not do everything you want, as long as you've done those daily method of operations, you've done those bare minimums, you can still rest your head at night and say, you know what? I still got better today than I was yesterday. And that's all it is. It's just doing what a little bit better today than you did yesterday. That's it. And it's just being consistent with it. That's really it. Yeah, that's it. Whether you say you can or whether you say you can't, you are always going to be right. Cool. So yeah, Naz looks really good. I can't remember who mentioned it, but yeah, Naz looks pretty good. We've got a nice manipulation. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'll be real. I don't really see myself blue boxing it today. To be honest, it's pretty early in the week. I'll be real. I'm probably just gonna ping an alert at this 50. Oh, wait, my fault. I didn't send the US30 chart. Would you consider looking for a micro in here, bro? It's active distro, bro. I don't really want to be this aggressive. I mean, what? Let's look at all of them before we make a real decision. I will check that one sec. Let me just quickly ping the Dow, ping the Nas. Oh, Adnan, bro, I need an updated video from you, bro. I found the one you sent me ages ago when you had like your first profitable sample size. But I need a new one when you're ready. I already know that one's gonna be disgustingly better. So Nas looking good too. Nas is looking real good. We'll check your chart in a sec, broski. Wait till you like hear Harry's one, bro. Oh my God, Harry's a sexy motherfucker as well. um, that was an old one, bro. I think Adnan, you sent that to me fucking months ago, bro. That was ages ago, man. Like 5 months ago, something like that. They're from October. Holy shit. Where do we get the updated one? What's the S doing? Yeah, I'll give that a go in the ES. Um, yeah, so okay, let's see what you're doing, bro. I mean, bro, like, I don't think I'd let me see. So, hold up, wait there. I have a feeling the ES will give a bigger shakeout though. Wait there. Um, yeah, I mean, we've just been it's so expansionary and like coming off this big winner on the Dow, big volume or where on where? I mean here. Just thinking we did have a lot. What do we do here? Volume sellers tried to come in. I mean, it could, bro, but I just don't want to be this aggressive. I think I want to see the blue box build out a little bit more data. Where are we? Let's see. What's the daily candles looking like? So we are right next to that high. That high probably gets swept. Uh, would want to see this 4 hour candle close with a bit more strength if I was going to consider any blue boxes on this. Because yeah, I'd want to see a little bit more strength. But there's no point being this aggressive. It's still early in the week, man. We're running off these 1 to 100s from last week. You know, I mean, that is an accumulation. It's a possibility we could get the daily cycle. It's a possibility. We could see the London low of the day, New York continuation. I mean, this, how many times do we see it? You know, Frankfurt sweep, London low of the day, New York continuations. It's a possibility, but I think it's a little bit early now. We still got what half hour to the open anyway. Yeah, I mean, I just think just where it is, bro, higher time frame, a pullback would be nice. But I know we are going to all-time highs. I just know that a lot of my losing streaks come off after big winners, so I'm not really trying to look for reasons to trade. You know, like my month is pretty much done. You know what I mean? I had a beautiful that trade there, 1/100 is that's it. That's the month done. So what's the point in trying to give all that profit back to the market? And again, that's where people go wrong. They don't know when to stop. Yeah, I mean, it's a bit too early. I think it's an active distribution. I'm not going to buy an active distribution, so I'm just going to wait for it to come down here. To be entirely honest with you, I mean, could the blue box give some strength, and could the blue box show a reaccumulation? Oh yeah, we went over this on the Thursday call, I think. Um, um, Give a larger reaccumulation. What are the others doing? Let's see. Yeah, we got a lot of weakness on Nas. Nas has got zero strength on the lower time frames, and no organization really. Like, I mean, I think we'll see a sell-off at the open. I mean, it's at least come into here. I think I prefer Nas, bro, than Dow. I mean, if the Nas can give some sort of sweep and strength, I'd probably prefer that. But I just got no reason to be this aggressive this early in the week. So yes, doing yeah, yes, it's got so much liquidity. Mm, yeah. Mm, yeah, I don't know if I want to be that aggressive. I mean, what ES is distributed, potentially redistribution, been on the VIX. Mm, the VIX looks like it's probably going to redistribute and come lower. As long as the VIX keeps selling off, we would be good. But yeah, it's not going to be this aggressive where we are, man. Like again, treat this as if this is a full 5 second chart, we're just going to wait for that. Same thing here. Why be so aggressive on a Tuesday? It was a Thursday, it's a bit different. I mean, even here we had the big shakeout, we just had the news, you know. This is in that like for me, where we are now is it literally reminds me of exactly where we was in here. Like, I mean, it could give a small scalp, it's possibility. And we did have a very small scalp on the Tuesday. Um, but I think I'd rather just wait. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna be that aggressive today. There's no need to. We just had a big 1 to 100. You're in the casino and you just won a shit ton of money. You leave, you go home. You know what I mean? You don't keep playing. Um, yeah, I'm good. I'm gonna wait to see if these things can come down to demand. Yeah, I think today can definitely be a no trading day. What else is there? Anyone else looking at anything else? In terms of let's see. So let's look at some of this news that came out. Yeah, and now this is where the psychology fucks people up because now they're thinking, I don't feel productive. They're not taking trades, so now they're going to feel lazy. Now they're going to feel like they're not working on their goals. But not doing anything is doing something in this market. That's what you got to realize. Not being in a trade is being a trade. Yeah, you are practicing patience. You are building that muscle of discipline. Yeah, when I look at them, ES now's got a shit ton of rest and liquidity. Dow being, I know Dow is leading at the moment, but yeah, I want to wait for some more shakeouts and this to come lower. So yeah, this is it, man. Don't let this fuck you up. This, people might have FOMO, oh, I didn't get that trade last week. Oh, I've got to get a trade now and make up for it. No, you don't. Just patience, just relax. The market's not going anywhere. Treat it like you did catch that trade, backtest it, plug it in your charts. Even create a separate journal for your missed trades so that you can see, okay, even though I didn't take the trade, if I did, I would have made X% this week. And then start to figure out why. But that's the thing. Okay, you missed the trades, but why? What was the lesson? What was you doing during that time? Why wasn't you looking at the markets? What was you focusing at that time? You think that if you allow yourself room for decision fatigue, then you'll get fucked. If you only have 2 trades a week, you take A plus setups, no, yeah, 100%. There you go. Like a lot of people, that's it. Decision making fatigue is true. We only have a limited amount of willpower. That's why a lot of these like billionaires, they wear the same clothes every day. Like, think Elon Musk cares about his drip? Think fucking Jeff Bezos cares about his drip? No, because they know that that energy is precious. And that decision is a decision that energy can be spent elsewhere. So taking loads of trades will just burn you out, eat up your account. Remember, we're snipers, sitting, we're waiting. And this is where now, like, okay, I remember, what if you have a lot of passions and hobby? What do you mean? Well, I would say learn to, it depends what your focus is. This is it. It all depends what your goals are, right? It all depends what your goals are. And I guess, like, I don't get me wrong, I like clothes too. But for me, it depends. Like, I care more about a paycheck than I do about looking good. You know what I mean? Like, for me, like day to day, like if I'm not seeing anyone, bro, I dress like a bum, bro. I'm wearing fucking gym. I'm wearing a fucking gym. I don't know what the fuck this is. It's a gym top, bro. You know what I mean? I'm not thinking about how good I look. You know what I'm saying? But obviously, I like to have clothes too. But I just tried to think, all right, cool. If I'm gonna do that and look cool fashionably, blah blah blah, I'm gonna do that on my downtime. That's where you have to be organized, right? And plan time of when you're going to enjoy your hobbies, when you're going to do the things you like, and when you're going to do the things that, like what mode do you want? Are you in work mode or are you in play mode? Like for me, I'm all in, I'm either working really fucking hard and nothing else, or I'm either playing really hard and nothing else. Like on Friday, I mean, I didn't post this, but yo, we turned up. We got lit on Friday. Why? Because we worked hard throughout the fucking week. We got a banger of a trade. So what did we do? We played very fucking hard. So Friday evening and Saturday in the day, I literally did absolutely nothing work related. Nothing. We got lit. But that was my celebration. That was my playtime. And now it's work time. So bring Kieran. Hey, you want to hit it? Nope. Do not disturb. Phone is on do not disturb. You know what I mean? Like it's grind time, it's work time. So you got to be all in with what you do. If you're working, work. If you're playing, play. For me, like I'm so focused on my goal and the thing that I want. I don't care about what I look like at the moment, even though I might enjoy those things 100%. But you just got to know when to turn it off and when to turn it on. Be like a light switch because you can't multitask. You can't. You can only do one thing at a time. What's it? Jack of all trades, master of none. Right? You can't spin 50 million plates. Like think of it like this, right? A slap versus a bullet, right? Or even a knife. I luckily have one here, right? If I slap you, it'll hurt a bit, but it's not going to hurt as much if I shoot you with a bullet. Why? Because of the concentration. The bullet is so concentrated, the energy is so, even a knife, it's so sharp into one point. That's why it's so deadly and powerful because the energy is concentrated into one thing, you know? So yeah, when you work, work. When you play, play. That can be like, for example, like when you're grinding towards your trading and working on your core four, you want to be doing deep work. And this is what I was trying to explain earlier. It's like when you are, for example, grinding, right? You can like, you're either doing deep work or you're just wasting time. 30 minutes of deep work, locked in, no distractions, clear intention, know exactly what you're doing, why you're doing it, versus 5 hours of just dilly-dallying around. I'll take that 30 minutes all day long. It's having that laser focus, and you'll build that muscle. You'll build that focus over time and repetition. Yeah. So, I mean, it's a possibility that these things could reaccumulate and go higher. Fundamentally makes sense. I'm just looking at NAS, no real manipulation. Looking at ES, no real manipulation. We know that the opens tend to give shakeouts. So let's see if we can get some sort of shakeout. I wouldn't even be surprised if the Dow did that too. Um, I mean, where are we? Guys, did I do the case study on Dow? Did I do the breakdown on last call? I can't remember if we did. I feel like I did. Yeah. I'm a bit sick, so my brain's not working. Um, oh yeah, yeah, okay, cool. I just wanted to make sure. I mean, I guess, but I mean, looking at it, you can technically. I mean, it's all the way. Yeah, but I think I can't remember if we did it on the call. Maybe I have to go back and watch it. Because I know we did some trade recaps. I know we definitely did trade recaps on the call, but I can't remember if it was the Dow, the banger, the 1 to 100. I mean, I see it, bro. It's tech. Like we can argue it's a redistribution, but I'm just thinking about where it is. Um, I'm just thinking about where it is, bro. Like, I mean, you can argue it's a redistro, and technically it has to break it to come up. But again, I'm just coming from that back that I just had a fucking 1 to 100. So why do I want to be aggressive on a Tuesday? We've got Asia highs in there. Um, got divergence on Euro. Euro never broke. Bro. I just think as well, like, how would more people lose? More people would lose by sweeping that. You can catch it, but treat it like you did. That's the secret. Treat it like you did catch it. Live as if you did catch it, because it's all energy, bro. It's all energy, frequencies, and vibrations. Um, US Tech. Show me your POI, bro. What's this? But you can't trade this, bro. I mean, it looks good. Technicals look good, but for me, and I like that you had the micro, but it's the time of day. You know, and from a technical perspective, it looks good. You've come into the 50. I'm assuming this is a reaccumulation. I'd probably need to see the POI more. Little type four. Get a micro and wait. Well, I can't see all your drives in there. Yeah, and from a back test, doesn't look bad. I'm assuming you've got a couple drives in there. It doesn't look bad. Yeah, obviously I'm just not going to trade it. Oh, they were free. Yeah. Well, if they were free, then yeah, look, it looks good. Obviously, for me, like I've just never traded NAS during London. I've always just stuck to what my mentors have told me, which is trade during the NYSE because that's what it is, you know. Um, that's when the markets are open. So I don't know how you can trade it when the market's not open. But obviously you know that. But I guess just from a pure technical standpoint, doesn't look bad. I'd also say be mindful that something that like something like this. I'd have to see what ES looked like in US30, but I would say be mindful this could have been a larger schematic, kind of like something like this building, and it could have done that. It definitely could have done that as well. And obviously you could have took the loss and took the next entry. Sometimes you will take a loss. Yeah. Yeah, with Joe, with this, I mean, it technically maintains the lowest form of market cycle. Um, I mean, we can see if it gives a distribution. It's trying to. We can see if we get weakness. I mean, I don't want to be this aggressive. We've got a little reaccum here. It's trying to build a distribution. Probably want to see it break something at least. If we're going to be that aggressive on it, but it's so early in the week, bro. You know, like I'd rather this thing just come up here, come up to premium, and then drop off. Just from a high time frame perspective. All right, I didn't drop the Dow chart. I did drop the Dow. I need to drop the Nas chart. Yeah, I'm gonna wait for this. I'm gonna wait for the bigger shakeout. Nas looks really clean though. We've got this open in 8 minutes, so we'll probably see. Well, I don't know what's gonna happen at the open, but just based on what I'm thinking, it would make the most sense to see a sell off at the open. It could spring and start building a reaccum, but I don't know. I just don't really want to be this aggressive this early in the week. We know that the open pretty much always gives some sort of manipulation. So looking at this, where is the manipulation? You know, I can't see a manipulation yet. So if I can't see the manipulation, I'm probably gonna be the manipulation. Um, VIX looks like it's selling off. Uh, Booth. I mean, VIX is hard to trade, but if VIX goes down, then indices will go up. Fundamentally, they make sense to go up. So obviously, there's nothing that's going to get me to short indices, um, unless inflation starts spiking again. But yeah, this is kind of what I'm gonna look at. Cool. Anyone got any other questions or charts? VIX is the volatility index. So when the VIX spikes, I mean, I don't trade it, but pretty much. I mean, I'll show you. So let's do it on the Dow. So if we look at the Dow, look at the VIX, well, S&P probably the best to look at it on. Oops, hold up. You got a chart? Yeah, we'll take a look at it. But yeah, guys, send charts, man. That's why we're here. Send charts, send charts, send charts. So yeah, there's pretty much like almost it's an inverse correlation, pretty much. If you look like when the VIX bottomed out, the ES topped out. Yeah, can you guys see that if we follow the cursor? VIX bottoms, ES is topping. Yes, VIX is topping, it bottoms, topping, bottom. So it's pretty much inverse. And it's harder to trade the VIX because if you just look at the VIX chart itself, it just like goes sideways. It doesn't really trend, it just shows volatility. Yeah, you don't really want to try and trade that. But yeah, like on like lower time frames and stuff, you can see the market cycle, and pretty much when this thing goes down, indices will go up. ICP. Yeah. So for alts to go up, we need ETH and yeah, I mean we still could get a shakeout on this bad boy. Oh, bro, I just think fucking rallies. Um, yeah, I mean, this thing can still come a little bit lower. We don't really have much organization in here. I mean, we are technic. I mean, you get a type 4, but need more strength. Could do that at least still. It's still technically being walked down. But for alts to go up, you need Bitcoin dominance to go down. And until this thing goes down, you ain't gonna see your alts do anything. And alt season's very short and very aggressive. Like, I mean, the last alt season we had was very short. It was very short. In 2017, it was like a couple months. It was in like July till like November, December. So yeah, alt season's very quick, very aggressive. And we need Bitcoin dominance to drop first. But in terms of like dollar cost averaging, yeah, I wouldn't say it's a bad time to dollar cost average. Obviously, if you dollar cost average, you're getting average pricing. Um you're not worried about specific pricing because you're not going to use leverage. So alt season, yeah, bro, alt season's very quick. How do you mark up this accumulation? Uh, so that's just one distribution. That's not a reaccumulation because it's what's it doing? It's going up. Like this, it's going up, it's going sideways, and it's going down. A reaccumulation is when buyers enter the market, all right? So, you just label it, buyers climax, automatic reaction, secondary test, up thrust, sign of weakness. So, yeah, this would just be one distribution. And yeah, that would just be one accumulation too. So I'd probably just box that as distro. I wouldn't mark that, not on this time frame, because look at the size of it. Like when you're looking at your boxes, they have to be the similar size. So look how like tiny this is. It's like fighting. Like you guys know in fights, like professional fighting, you've got weight classes, right? Like someone who's 150 kilograms is not going to fight someone who's 50 kilograms. So just based on the duration of these two, they're two different sizes. So they're not the right time frames. Plus, you can't see, like if you look at a Wyckoff schematic, you can't see any of the phases in the events. Uh, for example, like you need to be able to see the highs and the lows, the SC, the AR, the ST. You can't see any of that. You know, you can't see any of that on the left. Versus on this one, you can see that distro clear. So it's just one big distro. And yeah, one big accumulation. I mean, if you want to talk about labeling, we could do so. Let's do the distro first. Buyers climax, automatic reaction. I like for me with Wyckoff, it's more about the phases than the specific points. So like I'll be like, all right, that's phase A, stops the trend. Phase B, consolidation, time passing. Phase C, my manipulation, and then phase D and phase E. But obviously, if you were gonna do it, BC, AR, like ST, up thrust, LPS or test, or LPSY because it's sellers, LPSY, sign of weakness. And then going into an accumulation, yeah, like phase A, phase B, phase C. going into phase D. So like you could look at it like, yeah, probably like SC, AR, ST, STB, STB, and then a spring. And you could also argue there's like another type 2 accumulation in there. So you can get schematics within schematics. Yeah. Let me know if that was what you was looking for, bro. Obviously, like looking for an entry and labeling up a schematic are completely different things. Like for me, this wouldn't be an entry because there's no real POI to the left. So because I'm not using it for an entry, I'm not necessarily gonna worry too much about like the drives and all that shit, you know. But yeah, good box. Just yeah, I would say bigger box, one big distro. I mean, technically, if you really want to be anal about it, you can argue they had to reaccumulate it to then distribute it like that. But like, again, I just focus on bigger picture and bigger picture. It's just a big distribution, you know. Um, Technically, you can argue they are redistributions, but again, you want to keep your charts clean and only mark up like one time frame at a time. So if your schematic's this big, I want to be looking at similar ones of that duration when they're taking weeks to build, you know, compared to that took what, like 24 hours, I don't know what, a couple days. This took weeks. This took weeks, you know, fighters, weight classes. Oh, we've got the open. Are we gonna get the sell off? Oh, fucking wizard, bro. You know what I might do? I might just open a trading account and just fucking start buying and selling what I think. I'm joking. Never. That creates so many bad habits, bro. I'll probably lose all my accounts. Dollar cost averaging. Yeah, so dollar cost averaging is literally just buying over a consistent period of time and not worrying about the specific price. So obviously when you like invest, for example, into stocks or cryptos, you're not most of the time you're not using leverage. So because you're not using leverage, you're just buying like, for example, a coin. So for example, let's say Bitcoin, right? It's so easy, right, to do it with Bitcoin. Let's just go back to here, right? Like instead of, for example, with cryptos and stocks and stuff, like instead of trying to, so you know how when we trade leverage, we're very specific, we're very sniper, we're like literally like a sniper. We're like, all right, we need the POI, we need the drives, we need the 50. We're so precise, so anal about it. Like with crypto, you can have a general thesis and general demand zones. Of course, you can wait for all that stuff if you want. But for me with crypto, like I'm not so anal about it because I don't need to be precise because I'm not really using stop losses. Like like if I invest in a crypto, my stop loss is the coin going to zero. You get it? So if I invest, let's just say you invest £1,000 into crypto, like instead of doing it all £1,000 and being so anal into 50 to 80, which you could if you want, you could split it up. So you could throw, 50 here, shoots up a bit, 50, 100, like every for example, every payday, I don't know when everyone gets paid, but if you get paid weekly, every week you could do 10% of your paycheck, or every month do a specific amount. So like for example, over time, obviously if this was leverage, right, and you was trading on like MetaTrader or TradingView, you buy here, it's going to hit your stop loss, you're out. So you've lost money, you've been liquidated. Versus when you're dollar cost averaging, you're buying here, buying here, buying here, buying here, but it's just your investment. Let's say, for example, you buy $100 up here and it dips 24%. You still have that coin, but your 100 is now worth 75. But you still own it. So you only lose it if it goes to fucking zero. So, okay, it was 100, goes down to 75, but then you hold it. Now it's gone up to fucking 600, you know? So you just dollar cost averaging, you're averaging your price. So instead of being so anal, getting in at, $230, you might have some entries at 300, some entries at 190, you have entries all over the place. And you just buy over a consistent period of time. And it just kind of removes the stress. So like for example, in this bull run, and the prior bull run, like obviously yes, during those accumulations, you want to try and be buying more. But even throughout this, I was buying here, I had entries here, I had entries here, bro. I had fucking entries here. Shit, I had entries here, I had entries there. But knowing my strategy, I also kept a bag for the mitigation of that. So you best believe when COVID fucking triggered and my alert went off when it triggered that 80%, oh yeah, I was fucking unloading shit, of course. But I was still buying, 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 even for that, buying, buying, buying. Of course, shit comes into demand and accumulates. Yep, I'm buying, 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 buying. And like obviously, if you're going to be in this for like 10, 20 years, obviously we trade the 4 year cycle. We're going to sell. Obviously, I shorted. For me, that was my entry. No, that were my shorts in there. That was disgusting. Um, and it's all public anyway. And what was the point? Yeah, like obviously, if you're playing super long term shit, yeah, you could have, buying, 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 buying. Obviously, even if you invested at the old all time highs, you would still be in profit today. If you had that stomach though to hold it through a fucking 80% correction. This is the thing with crypto, right? People can't like people like there's something called the emotional cycle, and this is what affects everyone when the market moves, right? And this wasn't made for crypto. This is just like some random fucking thing, but it just makes the most sense. Wait, what? Okay, I thought it crashed. So, for example, like when it's the market starts to rally, everyone's in disbelief. you know, then it goes into hope. People get optimistic. They start fucking believing in it. Like shit, I gotta fucking buy it. They get thrilled because they're in profit, get euphoria. Oh my god, I'm in profit, and it dips a little bit. Now they get complacent. Oh, buy the dip, it's gonna be rallying. Dips even more. They get anxious. Wait a minute, I brought up here. Now I'm in a loss. What's going on? Fuck, I'm in more of a loss, more of a loss, and they start panicking, capitulating, getting out. And they, for example, buy Bitcoin at 100K, it drops down maybe to, for example, 30K, and then obviously now they sell at a loss, they're depressed, and the market rallies back up again, just repeats. So yeah. So for me, like I'm always thinking long term with like cryptos and stocks and stuff. Like I'm not really caring about the day-to-day fluctuations. Like I couldn't even remember the last time I checked my portfolio. I just add to it. I don't even know how much it's at. I just add. It's add. And when I exit, I exit. you know? And yeah, some coins you'll lose. Shit, some coins will go to fucking zero. But the game's a game, But, obviously it's like the same thing with risk to rewards. Some trades, shit, you invest in 10 coins, shit. Four of them might go to shit. Fuck, five of them might go to shit. But, as long as you're getting, 5x's, 10x's on the rest of them, which is what I go for 10x's, then that's obviously, one of those coins would make up all your losses. But obviously, we're aiming for more than that. Um, so yeah. Oh yeah, always enjoy, bro. Always, yeah. Always, you always got to enjoy something, bro. Like I'll 10% of whatever I make, I'll just spunk on stupid shit. It's my baller fund. So if I want to go and literally fucking waste money, I'll do it because sometimes you need to do that. Sometimes you need to go and have fun. I try to be quite strategic. Like I take, like I don't have very specific percentages for everything. Maybe I should, but like for example, if I've got, let's say, a pot of money, yes, I'll take some and I'll invest into education. I'll take some and I'll reinvest and save it for a rainy day, maybe emergency fund. I'll take some and I'll maybe put it into a trading account. I'll take some and I'll maybe diversify into other industries. Maybe I'll take some and I'll go and have fun with it. Because at the end of the day, that's what you make money for. Again, you have seasons, right? You have seasons of sowing and seasons of reaping. Um, So yeah, I always like with any money I get, my number one priority is always education. Like that's almost my number one thing. And then after education, then it's obviously savings, expenses, shit I need to actually buy. Where can I deploy that capital to make more money? And And then after all that's done, then it's like, okay, now I can have a bit of fun with it. Yeah. But like just money management in general is a reflection of your trading account as well. Like if you're really bad at managing my, oh, there we go. We've got the manipulation at the open. I'm not quite on ES yet. But yeah, like if you like when I started trading, like bro, I couldn't manage my money. I could not manage it at all. Like my paycheck I'd get from work and just from life, I would just waste it. Like I'd literally like I remember going back 2016, I've got screenshots of my bank account in like negative 86p. I literally have a screenshot of it. Because I couldn't manage my money. So when I started trading, you best believe my account was the same sort of thing. I could never keep my account, I could never grow it because I was bad with money. How you do one thing is how you do everything. Like you can't be, poor with money and impulsive in your day-to-day life and then be a good trader. If you're strategic in life, you're strategic in the markets. And I was quite impulsive out of the markets. So it was like I had to learn a new muscle. Single. Yeah. Yeah, we've got a sweep. I mean, I still want it to come a bit lower, to be honest with you, bro. I still want it to come lower. I don't really know if US30 will accumulate in here. I'm not gonna buy it if it does. And we swept the open. Naz is trying to accumulate. Got the drives. I just don't want to be this aggressive this early in the week. It really could play out, but it looks like it is. I mean, shit off that 80. But again, like, I'm not worrying about reward here. I'm worrying about risk. For me, there's more risk to the downside, so I'm not really too interested in trying to buy that. With literally, that's literally picking a bottom. I'm definitely not going to buy that. And this is where it can fuck people up because they'll see it now and they'll be like, oh, it's going there. And this is the thing. They forget about their psychology. They forget about their emotional state. They forget about their higher time frame thesis. They're like, oh shit, where am I? Oh fuck, I'm up here. I haven't even broke this yet. You know what I mean? You're literally just picking bottoms at that point. And this is where it fucks you up because it can work out once and you think, yeah, I'm top G. But yeah, I think these will probably come lower. And that's what the market does. Like it can make you think it's going to do something. That's why you got to be real careful. So yeah, let's see if we'll let these things come a little bit lower or if they will give any more strength. But yeah, if you had a gun to my head, I would say indices come lower and then buy them a little bit later in the week. And we had literally last week, Monday, fake rally. Tuesday, sell off. Wednesday, sell off. Thursday, Friday, rally. Bravo, we're literally getting the same price action. Monday, Monday rally. Literally, Monday rally. Tuesday, Wednesday. I wonder if we get the Thursday, boom. What did we get the week before? Monday rally, Tuesday dip, Wednesday dip, and then the bottom was in. Like the week before that. Well, kind of. Monday fake rally. Tuesday it continued it a little bit, but then got the shakeout and the low where the week was printed on Wednesday. What do we get? A little fake out Monday. Like that's why this is why I like Wednesdays and Thursdays. Like look how nice. Like just from like forget the markups. Look at Wednesdays. Look at the Wednesdays and Thursdays. Beautiful rally. Wednesday, beautiful rally. Wednesday, beautiful rally, and even beautiful one on Thursday. Kieran, why do you like trading Wednesdays and Thursdays? Because the data, So yeah, and yeah, like sometimes you just got to see shit so much, like you just got to repeat it. Like I think I think that's honestly the thing, guys. Like sometimes it's just I'm trying to word it. Sometimes it's not that you're dumb. Sometimes it's not that you're not good. It's just you haven't heard it enough. And that's why things need to be repeated again and again and again and again and again. Like, and something like this is why like I always try and stay humble in my learning journey because anytime you think like, oh, you're too, you know it, or I know this, that's when you get complacent and things start backtracking. Like I literally remember as soon as I quit my job, like, you guys know the story. As soon as I quit my job, I got so cocky. I stopped studying, stopped journaling, stopped doing everything. And then I lost a shit ton of money because I stopped doing all the things that got me there. Now I started thinking I'm the guy, I'm the top G. I don't need to learn anymore. You always got to be growing. Always got to be repeating the basics. And that's what it is, man. It's just hammering hard on the basics. You know, like you look at the top fighters and athletes in the world, they're doing the same routines. It's just the same drills again and again and again and again and again and again because that's what it is. Like, and that's why no one can really succeed at such high levels because they get fucking bored and they can't get over doing the same boring shit. They think that there's some shiny object syndrome. It's called the Valley of Despair. Right? This is a whole fucking this is a whole thing. Like, there's fucking probably a million of videos on YouTube and shit you can watch on this and stuff. Yeah, even Alex Hormozy speaks about it, right? Like, we can even watch it together. I don't know if you guys can hear this. Can you guys hear that? I don't know if you can. Oh, you can't? All right. Where's my screen, bro? Can you see the screen? Oh, there you go.
There's 5 stages that you
I
go
can't hear
through when you're
You
considering
guys
a
hear
new
it now?
opportunity. Phase 1 is called uninformed optimism. This
Yeah, you can hear it, right?
is where you are uninformed, but you're like, man, this opportunity sounds so great. Look at all these people making all this money. And then you get to something called informed pessimism. You're like, oh, wow, this isn't as easy as I thought. And then you get into the valley of despair. Sad face, sad face. This is where most people quit. And this is what most people do now. They find another one of these things to get into, and they go all the way over back here to uninformed pessimism. And so what happens is people keep repeating the cycle over and over and over again, and they never make progress. When you do find something that you're like, you know what, I kind of like this. This is harder than I originally thought. This is actually really hard. I guess this is why everyone isn't rich. And then something magic happens. You then start to have informed optimism. You now start to realize, I haven't gotten there yet, but I understand the math. And then you finally get to the final phase, which is achievement. And that's what you saw over here that you were optimistic about, but you didn't understand the path that it took to get there.
Man, oh, it lagged. You guys didn't hear it? It was really laggy. Oh, that was awkward. Did you hear it though? Yeah, that's it. That's it. The point where it gets boring is the time to push. That's good on your end. So like, that's fine for you. Maybe just different internet connections. But I'll explain it anyway. It's like, yeah, you'll find something new and you're uninformed about everything that's involved. You know, it's like, okay, it looks really good. You know, oh my God, Wyckoff, 1 to 100s, traveling, blah, blah, blah. And then now you fucking start, okay, I gotta learn this shit. I gotta back test, I gotta fucking study. And now as time going on, it's getting harder and harder. You're like, fuck, I got actually put in a bit of work. And at this point, you start feeling maybe a bit down. You start feeling a little bit demotivated, a little bit sad, a little bit fucking upset. You maybe see other people progressing, and this is where the valley of despair occurs. Because during this time, you see someone else doing something that looks cool. You see someone else got the new car. Or you see someone else has got the new, fucking trade or whatever. So you think, fuck, I got to do what they're doing. The grass is greener on the other side. The grass is greener where you water it. So yeah. At that point, that's when most people quit. And then they quit and go back to uninformed optimism. And they're like, yeah, it's really fun. And they realize, fuck, I got to learn it. Oh shit, I got to put work in. And the same thing occurs. And then, oh my God, the new strategy. And oh my God, I got to put work in. And they keep fucking looping. But this is where, bro, yeah, that's it. That's where you got to push through. Like, that's where it gets hard. That's where you got to have that negative capability and go back towards that pain and go, yeah, it's the spring 100%, bro. Literally, like, Wyckoff is real life, you know? You're springing, you're shaking out the weak hands. you're thinking, fuck, everything's worse. You know, it's the darkest right before dawn. Everything will break before it gets better, right? And then you stick to it. You push through. You push through. Then you start learning more. You start getting over those things. You have breakthroughs. That's why it's called a breakthrough, because you're breaking past limiting beliefs. You're breaking past old versions of yourself. And then as you learn more, you then start to achieve and get some of that result. You start winning the trades. Sample sizes start to get profitable. You get funded, start getting some payouts. But that never occurs because people quit too soon. And I know it sounds so corny and cliche, but like that's really what happens. And it's having that, I guess, emotional intelligence to when times get tough is to lock in. You know, that's when it's time to reach out to people. That's why we have a community, and you got to stay close to the campfire. Like if you go away from the campfire, you're gonna get cold, and you know what happens when you get cold. And sometimes it's just showing up. Sometimes it's just being there. You know. Well, obviously, there's bare minimum that kind of contradicts what I said earlier, but I think you guys get the point, right? Different people at different stages. But obviously, once you're there, yeah, you put in the work, blah blah blah. It does take a lot of volume, all that good stuff, because volume always negates luck. Like, there's no such thing as luck. Like, outwork yourself. So yeah, we got that little shakeout. Um, yeah, I don't really see. Oh, Nas is coming down. I mean, I might look at Nas today. It's coming lower. There's nothing I'm going to do down here. I'll tell you that. I'm not looking for a micro in there. It's not at a 50. If this thing breaks, bro, where's? Oh, I was looking for my share screen button. It's on the other screen. If it does that, yeah, I'll probably give it a go. Um, Yay! Manipulation. Yeah, I mean, if they do that now, maybe I'd give it a go with a little micro in there. I probably wouldn't be opposed to that. I don't think that looks too bad if there's some volume in there. Oh yeah, baby. So if we can get, let's say if we can kind of, if this can maybe give a bit more of a spike and we can break that, I would be open to taking that. So I will have an alert. That's what every week TradingView change their fucking shit. All right, bet. There you go. So I will give that a go, but I would rather these things come lower. See, if I were Crackhead Energy, you could probably scalp that down, but I'm not gonna. I mean, being real, if that actually gave a micro, that would be a valid counter trend. But I don't want to with that volume absorption we got coming in. But I'm never gonna. Well, never. I never say never. I'm not gonna short Dow. There's no reason to. That's looking good actually. If that can break in there, that wouldn't be bad. All right, cool. Yeah. Anyone got any other? Oh, here you go. You know what's funny, Jay? I saw you post that. What was it, a possum or some shit you found? We found the same thing with a bird, bro. A little bird, a little birdie got caught in one of our. We had like a little, you know, the little sticky traps. We had a little sticky trap, and a bird fucking got in it. We had to fucking nurse it back to health and take it to the vet and shit. It's quite funny. At the same time, you did that. What are we looking at? Dollar. Yeah, but I would need a break, bro. I would need a break. It's just so low. Dr. Doolittle. Yeah, I need it to break. I mean, if it broke, maybe. Yeah, I'll need dollar to break. I think did I send that in?
Bro, I actually tried taking this a minute ago because I saw it as a micro. So I tried taking it on EU, but like EU sort of gave the entry like the way I was looking at it at the time. But like the fact that you needed the break, maybe it was a bit too aggressive, especially for a Tuesday. But EU didn't give the manipulation where dollar did. So like I was sort of going off of that. I didn't take it because like I couldn't work out like my micro or mini or standard lots. Like I don't think on the prop firm I'm using Top Step. I don't think I can use standard lots. And on the micro and mini, because the stop loss was so small, like it just wasn't really worth the like monetary, like the dollar amount back, even if it won, to like journal it and everything. But like I think maybe it was just a bit too aggressive, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, we've got no manipulation in the euro. We've got so much divergence. I mean, fair enough, dollar gave it, but then it's dollar. Yeah, I wouldn't have took it. Dollar didn't even give the because look, let's do this. So we're saying euro, right? Without the break, it's that low this early in the week. I'm good. But where are we? Um, yeah, we got all that. I know, fair enough. Dollar gave them in it, but when you had your sign of strength on euro, you didn't have the weakness on dollar. So it's just too much divergence at this point. Without a break, knowing where it is too, like if we just zoom out, we are in discount. We have just sort of destroyed. Um, it can rebalance. Obviously, I understand that yes, to rebalance, it has to break that. I agree. And that's I guess why you're still looking in there because it does maintain lower time frame legs. But yeah, I wouldn't have took it, bro. Because here's the thing: like, if that, let's just say you did and it lost, what's your journal gonna say? You can
Yeah,
probably,
yeah, I get that.
yeah,
I think it was just a little bit on the aggressive side there. But yeah, like you say, the main reason I was looking at it is because obviously I know that dollar broke, but yeah, euro it still looked pretty good, like just following the market cycle. But yeah, like you say, just looking at it again, like the divergence just it isn't great really.
yeah. I mean, what's pound doing? Yeah, I'm good. If we can get a break, then yeah, we can look at something a little bit later. Maybe that's what it's doing. Maybe if it is gonna break, maybe that's what it's waiting for. And we can do that. Yeah, I wouldn't be bad if it actually breaks because it is a distro. It
Yeah.
is valid. So let's see if we
So
if
at
it.
that point, after the break, would you fib up from the manipulation on DXY down to that where it would essentially boof,
Yeah,
and
no.
then you'd wait for a micro in there?
Yeah, I mean, you could set a limit. It wouldn't because that is your micro, right? I mean, well, just shy of a 1 to 10. It's not bad.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, it's essentially like it came into the 80 of that. I know it's not a super strong POI, that minute space POI, but like it did come into the 80. And if it boosts that lower time frame bullish market cycle, like yeah, man, I think it could be worth it, like from an
I mean,
RR perspective.
it's valid. Yeah, I'm not saying it's invalid. I mean, do you have a POI? Yeah. Can you validate the POI? Accum, distro, manip, break. Is it in alignment with fundamentals? Yeah. Do you mitigate? Yeah. Do you have a micro? Yeah. Are we going to have cause and effect? Yeah. Um, so I wouldn't say it's invalid. I wouldn't say it's invalid. Yeah, I would say technically it was be valid. The only thing that kind of puts me off is we just don't get a lot of weakness from it. Like look at the sell off. It's just like is struggling to sell off. And like one thing I'm looking at is just look at the pushes down. Like we know supply lives higher. Aggressive ass push, recharge, less aggressive. And normally, like when you look at the pushes and it starts to slow down, we start to reverse. Like look how aggressive, slow, reverse. Let's look at every leg. Before it turns around, it physically slows down. Like look at for example, I'll have to shoot in a sec. But look, okay, big aggressive, getting lower, slow in, then turns. Aggressive, slow in, then turns. So we're starting to kind of slow down a little bit. But I wouldn't say it's invalid. It's just from a Tuesday. I mean, yeah, if it gives it, I wouldn't say it's not work. I wouldn't say it's invalid. And if it breaks, yeah, it would be fine.
Yeah, that makes sense. If you were to set the limit after the break, how would you fill it up like on the on Euro? Since like it doesn't have the manipulation, would you just fill up that whole move down to the break?
Yeah, I'll probably be careful that Euro could sweep out. But yeah, pretty much.
All right, makes sense. Thank you.
Yeah. Cool. So yeah, dollar looks all right. Shout out to Jay Signals. Yeah, it looks all right. That's cool. Just again, like I'm not gonna like I'm just open. Like that could lose and it could come up here, but it's not looking bad. Yeah, indices. Yeah, if indices come lower, these might even give it today, to be honest. We'll see. So yeah, we've got the thesis. Let's see if they play out. Again, stay patient, stay disciplined, and the gains will come. Cool. If there's no more questions, I'll drop the recording in the chat, and I'll see you guys on Thursday. Take care.